Hi YouTube. Today I want to share our stockpile with you and tell you about how I got it started. And right now I'm going to start at this end. It's not finished. Well, it's going to be an ongoing thing because no one knows how bad it's going to get and how long it's going to last. But right now we're about at 3 months worth of supply. And I just give you a sort of overall view. Now this supply is what I've actually been inventorying because I wanted to have, and I basically wanted to have specific items that we didn't run out of right away. Things that I actually cook with, things that work together really well, like string beans and potatoes. I just recently discovered that you can get canned potatoes because for a long time I wouldn't buy potatoes because they go bad so fast because we don't eat them fast enough. But ever since I discovered that we do have canned potatoes, I've been purchasing them. And just things that we use, things that we like cans of candy yam. Now, it doesn't look like a lot, but each roll of food is basically represents 1 week of meals, small meals, of course, but their meals, the same. And then also, like, hopefully things don't get too bad, but if they do, I recommend that you still go to food pantry, still get food where you can find it, buy food where or find out where they're distributing food for free or whatnot. Now, officially, my stockpile, the official stockpile, stops in this little stockpile here. It stops here at the sardines. Actually, it stops behind the baked beans here. This is where I'm keeping my inventory. But there's extra stuff there that I've accumulated. But the official stockpile for now stops at the baked beans. Now we're not much of a baked bean. We're not much of a bean family. We in general 90% of beans we just don't eat. We just don't like. But we do like the baked beans here. And who is this? Hanover. They have this at the Dollar Tree. In fact, everything in the stockpile, the official stockpile here, comes from the Dollar Tree. And I recommend that you get, what you can while it's available before, another disaster occur or another outbreak. And then, you can't find a lot of things on the shelves after that point. But here, these baked beans are delicious. And these cans, they don't stack on top of each other very well. But these are like 4 servings in per can. So I plan on getting some more of these. And they also sometimes, I didn't see any last time we were there at the Dollar Tree, but sometimes they have, now this is the brown sugar, but sometimes they have the whiskey baked beans. Sometimes they have the baked bean and beer and bacon, and they're all delicious. So when it comes to beans, those are basically the only beans that we like to eat. Um, so this stockpile is for things that I normally prepare and just like basic food staples that I hope and pray not to run out of. And the sardines over here, even though they're not part of the official stockpile, we like the sardines in water. Um, we like this sardines the in water because the oil is hard to manage. The sardines in oil, I mean, they taste fine, but we're here off the grid. We don't have, like high tech um, sewer system and everything. So you have to very carefully get rid of the oil because you don't want to just throw um, food byproducts outside because you don't want to attract animals or anything like that. So it's much easier to just get the sardines in water. Okay, so I'm going to give you an idea. Basically, this I started this stockpile with $12 because I had 12 different items, the 12 different items that I did not want to run out of, if at all possible. And along the back here, I have some cooking oil and my mushrooms over there. But okay, I'm going to start at the beginning of my little pal here. See, get you guys over here. Okay, that's fresh new cans of bug spray over there, but that's okay. They never been opened. But here we have the sardines that we use as snacks. At least under normal circumstances, we eat sardines for snacks. Vienna sausages and crackers. Um, but under if the on a real bad situation, we can use the Vienna sausages and crackers as small meals. Then we have the mushrooms over there that I use for seasoning and adding texture to food, stretching meat, and then we have our condensed milk that you can use for anything. You can water down and put it on cereal. You can. We don't eat cereal very much because we're all kind of like gluten intolerant, but you can use it for coffee. Cooking mostly is what I use the condensed milk for. Then you have your dice. We have our dice tomatoes that you can use for cooking or making a vegetable meal of diced tomatoes and green, um, let's say string beans. You can do everything with diced tomatoes, string beans, potatoes, and tomatoes. That sounds good. And some vegetable oil or some olive oil, whatever your choice is here. We have some sloppy joe for flavoring also. Candy yams, carrots, and here we have some chili, and I have chili with no beans. Now I will purchase. Now the Dollar Tree have chili with no beans occasionally. Last time, my last trip there, they did not have any. They didn't have any chili at all, and that's one of the reasons why I think most people need to. I think everyone needs to stockpile. Start making sure their cupboards and their pantries and eh, wherever you can put your food in the closet. Canned goods are great. A lot of times, I think for a long time people, thought bad of canned goods because they're preserved and, they have some kind of preservative and high in salt, things like that. But you can just pour that stuff off, and then you can rinse it off if you like. But in most cases, I just pour off the juice. I don't use the juice for anything. But the food that's preserved inside the juice is pretty good, and it's pretty healthy food. I mean, nothing is as healthy as fresh food, but it's healthy food. And so then you see I have the potatoes and string beans after the have the no beans chili, and I really like their chili. And even when I do get it with beans, um it's so much meat in their cans that it's okay. It's not like overpowered with beans, and plus I usually use chili on top of something or to stretch fresh beef or something like that. So by the time I'm done with it, it's not a lot of beans that we're being we're encountering. So and here we have the string beans, and then we have potatoes, and we have corn. All of these are just staple items. You know, this is the canned version of fresh vegetables, and here we go with the baked beans. Now I stopped the inventory at the baked beans, but another thing that I highly recommend if you're a meat eater like our family, Clover Valley roast beef is delicious. Now this is not at the Dollar Tree. Now, in fact, once we pass the baked beans, we've left the Dollar Tree, guys. Clover Valley roast beef you're not gonna find at the Dollar Tree. It's almost $3 a can. In fact, I think it's something like $2.95. So I mean, if you're a meat eater, this might be kind of expensive, especially under unusual circumstances where your financial situation is not the same as it's not as robust as it was before, but you're paying for the convenience of having fresh meat, because you might not have refrigeration, if you're doing without electricity due to a natural disaster, or because your husband lost his job, or and you can't pay the rent, or so if you lost your job, you're probably not paying the electric bill. No telling how bad the situation is, but many things can happen where you're without refrigeration, because without electricity you don't have refrigeration, and without a job you might not be paying your electricity. So hopefully, everybody, all of us will make it through. But if you can, get us, if you can stock up on Clover Valley's roast beef or any type of canned meat. That's another reason why chili, where I made sure that we have some chili in our stockpile, because that's another meat source that you can put on top of rice, or you can just, make spaghetti with it. You can do a lot of things with it. And also is another good one, also by Clover Valley, is their chicken breast, their canned chicken. Now it's a little cheaper than the roast beef, but the you get two per pack, and I believe it's $2.65 for two cans. So that's almost $1.50 per can. And with that, you have fresh chicken, and you don't have to worry about it going bad before you get to it because of lack of refrigeration. And I would say each can is by itself is only one serving. If you're going to make a sandwich, maybe more than, almost two servings. But I use their canned chicken for, over rice, or I mix it in chicken soup to make it more, so it have a lot more meat in it. But like one can, you can stretch it. That's how I usually use it. But you can, I usually use it over rice, or I mix it with vegetables. If I'm cooking string beans and carrots, or and potatoes or something like that, or let's say string beans and potatoes, then I will use Clover Valley's chicken breast, just one can of it, so everyone gets you know they have some chicken, and they have that flavor in it. Now these little cans here, I did not get them from the Dollar Tree. Like I mentioned earlier, the Dollar Tree purchases stopped at the the baked beans. But here at Dollar General, these little cans here are usually somewhere around 55, 65, 75 cents each. And as you see, I have cream of celery, cream of mushroom, chicken and rice. What I use these for is just flavoring. You know, I mean, you can use them as a meal, maybe for one person, but they make excellent additions to a already existing meal. They add flavor. They add the chicken and rice. Add more rice or add rice to your meal. So I just like to use them as flavor. I have some of these. Let's see. Let me see here. Okay, they call pulled pork. Okay, I got some of these. Oops, I got some of these pulled pork. Let me see who's the manufacturer. Schreider. Okay, I'm not really a big fan of this pulled pork here. We're not big pork eaters anyway, but we do like barbecue. I forgot how much they cost. So I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna guess. I forgot how much they cost. I have three of them here, but I just have them here for variety. I tried them, I cooked them, and by themselves, I wasn't that impressed with them. But I did get a few cans, and I mean they weren't terrible. They just weren't my cup of tea. But I just got them here for variety, because we are meat eaters, and so with that we have canned chicken, we have canned pork, we have canned roast beef, and so currently we're pretty happy. Um, Here we have some some canned apples, and that's just like if you have a sweet tooth, you want to have something, and because I would just recently watched a video where a young lady was doing shopping for groceries for the whole week for under $10, and she had mentioned that because she's broke, when she's broke she don't want to eat like she's broke, and I really understood what she meant by that, because if at all possible, regardless of what's happening, you want to have basic, you know, just basic things, basic food, not only just to eat. I mean, because we can survive on rice, you know, well, not all of us, because like I say, we're gluten intolerant, but you can survive on rice and be okay, but you're not going to be happy if you're used to eating a multiple variety of different things. So and this is far from what we normally eat, on a daily basis, but under harsh circumstances, at least we will have this stockpile to to pull from, and I'll be able to still continue with preparing um, a lot of our basic meals. And like, I'd still be able to have flavor. Because I remember this one video where the lady, she just had all of these spices and all of these seasoning. And I mean, far more seasoning and spices and sauces that I'm familiar with. And so, and I kind of thought that was kind of overkill, because, I think she was sort of like, almost like a professional cook or something like that. And I'm thinking under extreme circumstances, your family is not going to expect you to produce, like gourmet meals, but that's probably what she was used to, and she was prepared. She prepared for it. I mean, it was very impressive. Or another thing now, I recently learned on YouTube how to make shrimp egg fouillon, which is one of my favorite, and my whole family likes it. But one of the main ingredients here is the bean sprout. That's what you need for shrimp egg fouillon, and you also need some fresh eggs. But so if you have some fresh eggs and some bean sprout, and like I'm not a big time cook. I mean, I've been teaching myself to cook seriously for maybe the last 12 or 15 years. But up until that point, we've been eating like buffet. We used to live in buffet restaurants. Um, Buffet restaurants, nice restaurants, fast food restaurants. It was just, we were eating out. And because I didn't know how to cook, and we were able to afford to eat out as much as we wanted, so that's what we did. And but then when that ceased, I realized I really, really need to teach myself how to cook. And I discovered that cooking is more than just standing at the stove. I mean, you have to have a cooking, you have to be programmed to cook. You have to you have to be thinking about food ahead of time. When you're gonna cook, you can't just wake up like you do when you go into the restaurant on your way to the restaurant, and you just wake up and um, drive around the corner and you know and get you some food. You have to be thinking ahead of time, and so I mean, to a person that been cooking all their lives and learned how to cook as a child, this is second nature to them. This is nothing new. But to a person that's like a lot of New Yorkers, that's why they live in New York, because the restaurants are there and everything, the delis, and everything's at their fingertips. But and some people in New York, they don't even have the ability to cook because they don't have kitchens. Not this is not all New Yorkers, but I'm just saying some people, to save on rent, they will rent an apartment without a kitchen because they had no plans on cooking anyway. So you never want to eliminate your options. I know rent is so high in New York. You know, you don't want to be paying for anything unnecessarily. I understand that. But a lot of people, even though they don't have a kitchen, whether it's in New York or California or wherever, or they could be in Texas and be renting a room or whatever, they have abilities. They've created like small kitchens that I really see on. I'm really impressed with on YouTube. They created like a small kitchen where they have a microwave, or they have. Now I'm not a big fan of microwaves, but the toast oven, I really like that. The top burners, the portable burners, the electric ones, the gas ones. I really like the heat condensers. I think they are really nice and convenient and healthy. And so people are really getting creative, and I believe that we're never going to go back to our old normal, because for one, people have been shocked into making adaptations. You know, People that never cooked before are teaching themselves how to cook, are learning how to cook on YouTube, taking cooking classes, getting with family members, and they're just learning how to cook. So I don't think we're ever going to have a society that was so dependent on fast food restaurants like we did before, because people have, you know, we've been shocked into reality, that these things are luxury. They're nice, but they can go away at any time. And I've always, and even though I just recently learned how to cook, well, not recently, but about 15 years ago. That's recent to me because I haven't been cooking all my life. But I never wore that as badge of honor or a badge of pride that I didn't know how to cook. Because I know a lot of people, especially particular women, they're like proud to announce that, they don't cook, they don't know how to cook, not trying to find out, you know. And to me, it's like self-reliant. You always want to have the option where if something doesn't work out, if the restaurant is closed, or if you're shut in, or natural disaster, it's just certain things you want to be able to do, and I think it's just natural. Is healthy and natural to know how to put together basic meals. And I remember Wendy Williams, on the Wendy Williams show, she had mentioned that every woman should be able to cook, or I think she said every person, period. But everybody should be able to cook at least 5 different meals, and that's great. I think that is better than no meals at all. Um, I think the more meals you know how to cook, the happier your family is going to be. But if you could put together at least 5 different meals, and she was, I mean, I don't think she was including cheeseburger and French fries, even though the children would probably be happy about that. But if you could put together breakfast, and something for lunch, something for dinner, and we're not talking about cereal, because I mean everybody can pour some milk over cereal, of course. But hey, cereal and milk is better than nothing, right? But I'm just saying, if you could put together some bacon and eggs, um, grilled cheese sandwiches, I'd throw that in the number 5. Um, put together a vegetable salad. What's that? Do a stir fry with some string beans and potatoes, or you can mix it up with some corn and carrots, and all of these ingredients, these cans ingredients here, go on top of rice beautifully. I mean, you can put your tomatoes. We have a diced tomatoes you can put on top of rice. I don't know about the sloppy joe, not by itself anyway. Um, and the candy yams is for dessert. You can mix carrots with rice, chili with rice, beans or no bean chili. You got your string beans that goes great with rice. Potatoes, you do not mix potatoes with rice. You do not want to have two starches together. And same thing with the corn. That's those these two items you don't want with your rice. Your potatoes and your corn, no rice with that. Those, that's separate, on a separate dish, as a separate side for a separate meal. Okay, but your baked beans, oh my goodness, delicious on top of rice. Your roast beef, delicious on top of rice. And then here, these little cans here, where that I use for flavoring. You can mix that with your rice for flavor. But I also have spices and things like that. It's just that I just like these two, and they're convenient, already conveniently packed with flavors in the can. And also, even though I didn't speak well of the pork, the pulled pork, but you can put that over rice as well. But one of the big things is like the chili on top of rice. When you want a real robust meal, I would probably put some diced tomatoes with that. And we eat brown rice, by the way. So, because we're pretty much gluten intolerant. So, but we found that brown rice agrees with us much better. And like I said, with the bean sprout, if you want to make you some simple shrimp egg fouillon, and you don't even have to have shrimp, but you can. It's delicious with shrimp, of course. But if you have the bean sprout and you put together some gravy, or you take you some gravy out of the can or gravy out of the bottle, dice up some onions, or if you have some dry onions like we do. But basically, I mean, you don't have to get all fancy. You can still acquire, You can still acquire shrimp egg foo young. Just all you need is some bean sprout, some eggs, and most people prefer at least having some onions. Some people pack it up with all types of vegetables. They'll have some onions and some mushrooms and some carrots and some green peppers, or some spinach. You can do it any type of way you want. But like if you're just trying to keep it simple because you're not the best cook in the world like me, some bean sprouts, some onions, some gravy, and you're gonna have to have some eggs with that. And if you have some fresh shrimp, delicious. But you can also use the powdered shrimp, and you can use just the shrimp that come in those little soup packs. What's that? Roman noodles soup. But you can use the shrimps from there, and add the noodles, of course. And you can also use chicken. That which which reminds me, right here. This is what I use a lot of time because shrimp is on the pricey side, guys. So you get 2 cans of Grove Valley chicken for $2.65 in most places at the Dollar General. And I think I've seen it at Family Dollar as well. But I know it's at Dollar General. And I know it's sold at Dollar General. And that's what I use a lot for when I'm preparing shrimp egg foo young, because we don't always have fresh shrimp on hand. And so if you're a chicken lover like we are, you'd be just fine. So chicken and bean sprout, and if you have some onion, onion goes good with everything. If you can pull it off. I mean, I ordered a can of, what's that? It's a can of onions, and I forget how it's called. Dried, freeze dried onions. Just because I did not want to be without onions. I use onions for flavoring. If you add anything you add onion to, it just automatically kicks up your meal. It just automatically make you um, seem like you really doing something in the kitchen. You know what you're doing. A person walking the door and they smell that onion. I mean, you could just be cooking hot dogs, but you got some onions boiling or some onions on the grill. It's like you got it going on. Everybody likes you. Everybody's nice to you and everything, because they're waiting to get fed too. So I really like the onions. But like, once again, with the shrimp egg foo young, you can make your gravy or you can buy your gravy already made, and some onions, bean sprout, and some eggs. So you do have to have some eggs. So remember that if you're going to before you decide to make some shrimp egg foo young, you definitely have to have some fresh eggs. I don't know any way around that. I don't know if I would want to even try anything. Try to make shrimp egg foo young without eggs. I don't. And I know I don't want to. I know I don't want to try it. So, guys, I just wanted to show you how I got started with this stockpile. This stockpile, I've been accumulating this for the past 2 months. I mean, we've been stockpiling before then, but this is like a very conscious one that I put together and inventory. We got food scattered here and there, but this is, I know what's here, because I've been monitoring and inventorying. And I'm gonna give a shout out to the President Trump, for helping us financially, helping our family financially, and enabling us to eat and save food. And so, I mean, because the president has been helping our family and many others, we've been able to eat food and save food. And this is just, an example of some of the food that this doesn't even make a dent in the food that we eat on a regular basis under normal circumstances. So keep in mind that this is, I mean, now to some people, this is luxury, and under harsh, very harsh circumstances, it's going to be luxury to us as well. But to have food available where it's not, under circumstances where it's not available, this is Christmas right here that you see. And if the Lord is willing, I'm going to add some more to it. Where you see right here, we have two, most of the first and second layer is filled, 4 cans each on each layer. And where you see it sparse right here on top, where you see all the gaps, that's going to be, that's the start of month 3. When I fill the top of these cans where the gaps are, that would be the completion of 3 months of food. So the bottom half, or the bottom layer, the very first layer is 1 month, and then you have 2 months, and then when I fill in the gaps on the top, that's going to be 3 months of food. And so each row is 1 week. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, and so basically, like I was mentioning earlier, it's 12. Each week is consists of 12 different cans of food. You have your baked beans, your corn, your potatoes, your string beans, chili with beans or without beans. You have some carrots. You have candy yams for your sweet tooth. You have sloppy joe for flavoring or for stretching your meat. You have your diced tomatoes for making stir fry, cooking, and you have your canned milk. And then you have your Vienna sausages for snacks or a small meal if you have to. And we have over there, far over there near the wall, we have some mushrooms. So this is yeah. So like this is like our staple food, and I recommend. And all of these things can be mixed with rice. So you're stretching it with the rice. So keep that in mind. Accumulate some rice that you like, and like so with $12. Well, that's just 1 week, but 1 week of food is better than no food, right? But you can get yourself a week's worth of food with $12, and that's the thing. And you want to add some rice to it. And we prefer brown rice, and you want to get things like that and like this ahead of time. You don't want for things to go bad and then be trying to, you know, locate where which stores might still have what you need. So you want to get ahead if you can. Okay, thanks for watching, YouTube.